Good day. Welcome to the Dr. Smash software video. Today we are going to be learning about our monitor or the satellite dish. What is the monitor or the satellite dish? In the old days it used to be called the workshop control board. There are two ways of actually getting to it through the Dr. Smash program. You can either use the icon that looks like a satellite dish, or you can use the menu item monitor. The workshop control board will keep track of all the vehicles that your shop is responsible for. Either they are here for being worked on, they are waiting to be assessed, or they might have been towed in yesterday and your quoters now need to do quotes actually on them, or the client has not yet collected their vehicle. Either way, the client has left their vehicle in your hand. My general rule of thumb is that the person who receives the keys is responsible for adding the vehicle actually onto the workshop control board or the monitor. Every company is different, but generally this is the receptionist. So how do I add vehicles onto the monitor? To add vehicles onto the monitor, we're going to go into Admin, Check-in. This is a list of all the cars that are actually on the monitor already. In our case, Kelly has actually asked for us to look after her Hyundai Elantra and she is leaving the car with us. So we're going to go into Add a New Record. We're going to go to our lookup. I do happen to know the registration number and I type in the registration number ND183493. And we now find Kelly's car at the bottom here, and I can now say select. Save the check-in details, and Kelly has now been put onto the system. She'll be on our monitor. But what if they don't have a quote? So let's go in and actually add on one that does not have a quote. So we add a new record. If you go to your lookup, you cannot find a quote. You can then close your window. Your quote number is blank. And you say, OK, save the check-in details. And it will now ask you for the details about this car. We know it is NPN 60316. It's not actually on our list of vehicles. It's never been into our shop before. So we're going to go in and add a new vehicle. It is a Honda. It's a Civic. Right. I can put in the speedo, the chassis number, and all the details as required. And I click on my OK button. At this point, I either know who my customer actually is, or I do not know. If it was towed in, you know the vehicle details because the vehicle is in front of you. But at this point, you might not know who your customer is. So that is why we have that unknown customer. Because we can then just use our select button, and it now, every time you come into this quote, it will ask you, do you know who your customer is yet? If you do know who your customer is, you actually just go in and you start typing in your customer's details. We find who we're looking for and we say select. Right, it is now put in our Honda Civic against Borman and we say use the selected vehicle. And you will now see that Borman will actually come up onto our check-in list once we have saved the line items, blank line items of our quote. So we have started a quote for Borman. If we look under our jobs and quotes, there is a quote there that has actually been started. But then also if we look at our monitor record, Borman will be there in light blue, telling our quoters that they need to actually start quoting on it. So that is how you actually add on vehicles onto the check-in list. Now, generally what will happen is the security checklist will need to actually be done. So the receptionist will phone somebody or tell somebody to please go and do a security checklist actually on it. That person will do the security checklist either via our Android package, or they will do it manually on a piece of paper. They will be taking photos, things like that. But then it comes back onto our system, and we're now wanting to put the security checklist actually onto Dr. Smash. So we go to our security checklist for Borman, and you will now write up exactly what is going on. Our tire, this one is a fire. There could be you just typing in your information as to what type of tires there actually are. Do they have a spare? Your battery, what type of battery is it? Do they have a radio? And you just literally will go through answering any of these questions that you actually have. We can also add photos. We're adding items onto our photos. We go to our photo folder, and we have actually downloaded our photos that we've taken through our camera, and we have now got pictures of the actual car on the security checklist. Now they don't actually have to also be videos. So if you're wanting to take a video of your security checklist, you can do so and keep track of it actually on the Dr. Smash system as well. Okay, save the record. We have now finished with our security checklist. The other way of getting vehicles actually onto your monitor is by making a job card. When you make a job card, the computer checks to see whether that vehicle is already on the monitor. If it is, perfect. If it is not, then it will actually add on that vehicle onto the monitor as well, because it now knows that you're going to be working on this particular job, so you now need to keep track of it. In our particular case, we have in our defaults, we have ticked to say manually schedule through the workshop when making a job card. On our workshop control board or the monitor, we keep track of how long a vehicle is supposed to be in different departments. Now, if you manually schedule through the workshop when jobbing, it means that you want to set your own due time as to when this car should be finished by. If this is unticked, it means that Dr. Smash will actually make a schedule for you. Let's have a look at a quote. This is a very simple quote that we have here at the moment. We have 9 hours of panel beating time. We have paint work of 2.3 panels, and we have strip and assemble of 5 hours. For the computer to start looking at your schedules, there are some certain defaults that you need to actually have and set in place. Our default will be of the 1 hour of panel beating that you actually are charging for, how much of it is for panel beating and how much of it is for filing? Of that 1 hour of strip and assemble, how much of it is for stripping and how much of it is actually for assembly? In this case, 30 for stripping and 70 for assembly. Of the 1 hour that you have charged for painting, how much of it is actually for painting and how much of it is actually for finishing? That is 90% of it is for painting and 10% is actually for finishing. Of that 90% that you've said in the line above, how much of that is for preparation and how much of it is actually for in the paint booth. So you would set it up for your shop as to what you want your schedules to actually come out like. We then also have our scheduling time factors. In this particular case, they've all been set to 3 hours, but basically what it is saying is for every 1 hour that you have quoted, how long does it actually take your staff to do that 1 hour's worth of work? Different reasons could cause different things. You could have tea breaks, they are constantly being called away to another job. Just different reasons. It might be that they don't actually work for the entire hour and get that job done in an entire hour. It might take them, in this case, 3 hours to actually do it. So this is where the computer will get the schedule that it is going to make for your job cards. And we will see why this is actually important on the workshop control board. When you are now making your job card, you have asked for it to manually schedule, and this is the screen that will come out. It puts in your starting date and your starting time. You will then fill in your due date, your due time, and click on the button Auto Schedule, and you will now have a schedule that actually appears. You have said you wanted the job to be finished on Tuesday the 25th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, giving yourself a little bit of time for in case there is a problem. The computer goes through and it has now scheduled it through each one of those departments. And we then just click on OK, save the record, and now the job card has actually been made. Our schedule is actually now in the system and the Dr. Smash knows about it. If we did not have manually ticked, Dr. Smash will actually make its own schedule. So either way, there is a schedule in the system, and that's what Dr. Smash will actually use. Using it manually allows you to determine when you want the cards to be done by and not relying totally on the Dr. Smash system. So what does this actually do for the Dr. Smash program? Our workshop control board, here is our Borman that we've actually added in. It is to be quoted on still. And there is our Kelly, which is actually waiting to be assessed by the assessor. Let's have a look at current jobs. I've moved down the list to my current jobs. And you will see that we have these hammers. These hammers dictate what department the vehicle is actually in. This is where our schedules actually play a very important part. Our workshop foreman is now responsible for this workshop column. His column should be as green as possible. Mine are all red because the data that I have and the time frame of making this video did not correspond, so therefore all my jobs are actually totally out of date. We have just made ProCrane's job. It has put them into our starting or our stripping department. And at the moment, our workshop face is actually green because according to the schedule, they are actually still on time. If they are supposed to have left strip and assemble at 10 o'clock, and it is now 1 minute past 10, that green face will turn yellow, telling you that this car, it is already late, it should have left stripping already, but is within an hour of actually your schedule. If it comes to 11 o'clock or 1 minute past 11, that face will now turn red because it is more than an hour late of getting out of that department. Your workshop foreman's job is literally to keep that column as green as possible. How do we move the vehicles from one department to another? There are 3 ways of actually doing it. You can either do it manually, which is the way we're going to teach you today, using our Android package, or using our productivity module. The productivity module has readers in your workshop, and as the car moves from one department to another and a new person logs on, it automatically updates the workshop control board for you. The Android package is exactly the same. As you walk around and you move it from one department to another, it will automatically update this workshop control board on your server. But I'm going to teach you today how to do it manually, as this is the way that most people will probably start. So the first thing I would say is that when you walk around your shop first thing in the morning to actually see what's going on, you would print out your workshop print reports. You go to your today's vehicle position report and you print out the report. The list that comes up is a list of all the cars that are actually on your shop floor at this point, telling you what department they are actually in. You would have this printout, and next to it you would write manually as to which department that car is now in on the system. Once you have filled in this sheet, you come back to your workshop monitor, and the sheet and the workshop monitor are in exactly the same order. So we are going to say that if I double click, I do not want to go into the job. I want to go and move a department. I can now go to my Sibaya. I double click on it and I'm moving him to panel beating. I have customer care module. So the computer wants to know, do I want to send an SMS to that customer about the move? And you can either say yes or no. But here again, this is a different video. For now, I'm going to say no. So Sia has actually now moved, or Siabaya has now moved into panel beating. So I then go to the next one that is actually moved. And I double click on it and I move them to whatever department they have actually wanting to move to. And that is how you would move your vehicles around the different departments. You will also notice that further down the list, we have different icons as well. We have these M's. These M's mean that it is in the mechanical department. And then we also have these ones with arrows. These arrows mean that the car is actually not on your premises, but is actually at an outside contractor. I have highlighted in Gorble. I'll go to my edit, the artwork details, and it tells me that it left my shop on the 19th at 10 to 12, and it is due back at 10 o'clock on the 21st, and it's a Tiger Wheel and Tire. So I have now got the information about where my vehicle actually is. If the vehicle has come back, we just click on set the vehicle to returned. And it will now take it out of the arrows and put it back into where it was in the hammers. If a car is running late for whatever reason, there might be a reason for you to actually reschedule this job. So you would highlight the vehicle that you're wanting to reschedule, and you will click on schedule the selected job. It comes up with the screen that we have seen before, with the schedule that was already there. You're now wanting to change your due date, so you go in and you put in your time. You click on your auto schedule. It will now rearrange your schedule so that it finishes on the date and time that you have actually stipulated. We must write in a comment as to why we did this, and did you tell the customer? Let's say I contacted the customer by phone and I now say, okay, save the record. And it is as simple as that. Dr. Smash will keep track of all schedules that are actually made. So every time you reschedule the vehicle, the computer will keep track of it for you. We have now updated all of our information. We have moved all the departments around. We have checked that our outside contractors and things like that are actually all in the correct departments, and we are happy with that. There might be one or two jobs that you're actually wanting to put notes against. So let's have a look at this Michael Henry here. And I can now go in and say view the selected job. It takes me into the actual job card itself. And you will see here at the bottom, used notes to, used on reports. So if I type in here that we are awaiting spares due 3rd of September 2020, and I can now click on my OK button, that note will actually come up onto your overview report. So we have gone in, we clicked on our print report, and we did our today's vehicle position report. We came back, we got all of our workshop control monitor exactly the way that we wanted to look. We have added on all of our notes. So now we want to actually print out an overview report of what is going on so that you can give it to your workshop foreman and anybody else that requires reports. So we go back to our workshop print reports, and we can now do our workshop overview report. Print the select report we want just for the workshop. And you will now see that if we go through, there is our one with the notes that we did, awaiting spares, due on the 3rd of the 9th. It's against that one, but it's allowing us to actually see what is going on. It gives us the schedules as to when they were supposed to be in and out of the different sections. It gives us when it is supposed to be due by. And at this point, all of mine are overdue. So you don't want those Ys. You want it all to be blanks. But then you will have your notes on anything that you want, a quick summary as to what is actually happening with that particular vehicle. So that is your vehicle overview report. Workshop managers normally like to use that one. We also have your stripping, panel beating, filing, paint shop assembly, and your finishing requirements. You can print out these reports and it will tell your head of department as to what cars they should be expecting in their department for that particular day. So if I go into my paint shop and I print my selected report, it will now tell us these are the cars that I'm expected and when they are due out of that particular department. You also have vehicle and delivery order report. I'm not going to print it out at this point because, as I said, my data is not conducive to actually seeing the report properly. But it will have a list of this week, what cars are leaving on what day. So that you can have a look and you can see, hang on, I've got all my cars trying to leave on Friday afternoon, but nothing's happening on Thursday. Is it not possible for us to actually try and do some on Thursday instead of trying to now do 10 cars going out on Friday? So it gives you an overview as to when your cars actually due to be delivered. Also, that is actually a very nice report for your receptionist and your person who is responsible for making your excess invoices, your vehicle release forms, and things like that. They can have it ready and waiting for when the customer actually does come later that day. So there's lots of different reports that you can have a look at here, and you can play with them as you need to. So that is your workshop foreman and how the workshop control monitor will actually help them. You also have your admin column. Has your paperwork actually been done? If it is red, that means major paperwork has not been done, and that is normally things like your extras have not been authorized or claim number has not been put in. So let's have a look at C. We'll click on Adams. As I see, his admin face is red. I then click on View the admin details, and it now says that his vehicle checklist has not been done and his extras have not been authorized. You cannot just go in and tick. You physically have to go in to this particular job by going into View the selected job. You go to your spare summary, and now you will go in and you now need to authorize proof that the computer is telling you about. Only by authorizing it will it turn your face green. The yellow faces on your admin is your security checklists. Not everybody likes to do a security checklist actually physically on the Dr. Smash system. So that is why it has been put in as yellow. But it's just letting you know that security checklists have not actually been done. So if we look at a yellow one, we do our admin, and you'll see that everything else has been ticked except for the security checklist. So that is your admin faces. Then we have our spares faces, and that would be for your buyer or your storeman or whoever is actually in charge of your spares. Red means that there were parts to be bought for this particular job and they have not yet been purchased. There's no order has actually been made for it as yet. Yellow means that the order has been made, but the parts have not actually arrived. And then green means that the parts have actually arrived and are now sitting in your shop floor, so you should have no problems with them whatsoever. We have two other icons as well under stores. And this one here, with the square with the tick box, means that an outside contract, which can only be done at the end of a job, like your vehicle wheel alignment or regassing of your air cons or things like that, can only be done at the end of the job. So it is an outside contract order that is not actually been made as yet. Normally it would have actually come up with a red face, but because it's actually an outside contract order, it's now coming up with a block, but now telling you all your spares have been purchased, but not your outside contracts as yet. The other one that we have is this snowflake. It means that the spares that you have ordered are actually ex-factory and they are going to take a while to actually get here. So that is just letting you know that it is an ex-factory, so therefore you are awaiting spares. So generally what we would do here, and they've probably done it on this one already, but we go to view the selected job and you've got awaiting parts, and you generally, if you want, you can put in the date of when it's actually due, so that your workshop foreman knows that it is actually ex-factory parts that we were waiting for. So that's what your spares column is all about. I have missed a column, and I missed the spreadsheet column. The spreadsheet column is your final repair calculation. If it is red, it means no one has even started looking at your final repair calculation. If it is yellow, someone has gone in and has started working on it. And then if it is green, it means that it has actually been finished and an invoice has actually been made for that particular job. So that is what your spreadsheet column is actually all about. You don't have to have the spreadsheet column on your workshop monitor if you want, but that's totally up to you. You can customize that particular column if you need to. You will also see that we have colors coming up under our jobbing. These colors are because we have in our defaults, we have set that we want to show our extras on the monitor. A red job number means that an extra has been requested. If it is yellow, it means that we have sent off the progress report. And if it is green, is we have got an answer back from the insurance company. So that is what this column of colors actually means. So Dr. Smash likes to use colors to actually help make life a lot easier as to what is actually going on. So you can see straight away, these are extras that have been asked for, but nobody has actually sent off a letter to the insurance company yet asking for it. If it is yellow, they have sent it off, and then if it is green, we have received an answer about it. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom so you can see the other colors that come up, because mostly you will be using in your current job section, but there might be other colors that you're wanting to use as well. These ones here are your return for completion jobs. The jobs were finished, they were delivered to the client, but then the client had one or two complaints, and we have had to reopen that job card. We have also got our completed. The job is actually now finished. We're waiting to actually deliver it to the client. For whatever reason, it is now under your completed. Then we also have our yellow section, which is in storage. We then have our outstanding. Outstanding is very important to actually keep control over. The client has come and taken his car. You have finished with it, but you still owe them that stripe on the one door. Even though the car is physically not on your shop floor anymore, you still need to keep track of what is happening about that stripe. So that is what these ones here are actually all about. It is your outstandings. We also have pink ones, and these are all of your booked in cars. You have made them into a job card so that you can purchase the spares for it, but the car is physically not on your shop floor at this point in time. So your storeman can do all of his ordering, and when you are happy that all the parts have actually arrived, you can now go in, you can phone the client, and his telephone number actually comes up at the top here. So you highlight the client, telephone number comes up, you can phone them and make it a schedule as to when that customer will actually be bringing the car in. And you can go in and set your schedule just like we did before, where you can now say that they will be in on such and such a date. And then when that customer does come in and physically comes in, all you do is you just highlight that micron and you click and say current job, and it will now move it out of booked in and into your current jobs, because you're now working on that actual physical item itself. So these pink ones are actually very good at keeping track as to what is actually going on. And you'll see that when you do reschedule, your question marks here will have a date come up as to when that car is actually due in, as to when you said it was going to be coming in. We have finished with the actual job itself. So our customer, Karen Fisher Swim, has come to collect their car. So we highlight. You would obviously be giving back their keys. You'll be having the invoices all made, your vehicle releases, and all the rest of it will all be done. You are now finished, and this car is now leaving your premises. So you are no longer responsible for this particular car. You go to your delete monitor record. Are you sure? Yes, we are. And Karen has actually now come off of our list. So it's no longer 113 vehicles in the shop, you've now got 112. So that is how you will remove cars from the monitor. That, or otherwise you can go to your admin, back to your check-in. Our list is here. We highlight the person that we're talking about and we use the delete the record key. So there's two ways of actually getting it off of this list. Now, just because we have deleted it from the monitor does not mean that the job has actually been closed. If we go to our current jobs, there is our Karen Fisher. She is still on as a current open job. It's because you now need to finish off either the final repair calculation, if there is, or whatever the rest of the paperwork is that now needs to be done before you can physically close this job off properly. But what it has done is under Karen, if I now go into Karen, you will see that it has now put in a delivered date. And that is the date that Lightstone are actually looking for. So when we come to do our Lightstone reports, that is the date that it's looking for, is when was the car physically delivered to the customer. They don't want to know when the job was actually finished, as in when did you finish the paperwork. They wanted to know when the car was actually delivered.